You want to know the one thing that creates the kind of emotional connection men don't forget. It's not looks, it's not how well you cook or how supportive you are when he's winning. It's this quiet, powerful sense of safety he feels when he's around you. And not just physical safety. I'm talking about emotional safety. When a man feels like he doesn't have to wear a mask with you, that's when everything changes. That's when love deepens. That's when loyalty forms. That's when he stops looking around because something in him says, I'm home. Most people think men don't have emotional needs, or that they just want respect, admiration, or sex. And sure, those things matter. But even deeper than that is this craving for a space where they can just breathe. A space where they don't have to perform. Where they don't have to be the strong one every second of the day. Men are conditioned to act tough, to hold everything in, to carry their burdens in silence. But when they meet a woman who gives them permission to exhale, someone who doesn't punish them for being human, they attach to that feeling. It's not about fixing his emotions. That's not your job. It's about giving him the freedom to have them, to talk without being interrupted, to say, I'm not okay without being labeled as weak or dramatic. Emotional safety isn't about you solving anything for him. It's about being present, about listening, about showing with your eyes and your tone that you're not here to tear him down or criticize the way he processes life. And trust me, that kind of presence is rare. Most people listen to respond, but the woman who listens to understand, she leaves a mark on his soul. And here's the wild part. He may not even be able to explain why he's so drawn to you. He might say things like, I don't know, I just feel good when I'm around her. Or she gets me. That's how powerful emotional safety is. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't need to be flashy, but it creates depth. The kind of depth that makes a man realize this isn't just another woman, this is someone he can build with. Now you might be wondering, how do you create that space? It's subtle. It's in the way you react when he opens up. Do you get defensive? Do you make it about you? Or do you stay calm and grounded, letting him express what's on his chest? It's in how you handle conflict. Do you attack, blame, or shame? Or do you hold space for both of you to be human, to be imperfect, and to still feel safe in the relationship? And it's also in the way you allow him to lead emotionally sometimes, when you don't rush to rescue him from silence, when you let him sit with his thoughts without pressure, when you believe in his ability to come back stronger. And you communicate that belief not by giving advice, but by staying steady. That's when a man feels like he's not just accepted, he's understood. And once he feels that with you, he doesn't forget it. That feeling becomes magnetic. It becomes sacred. Because now he doesn't just enjoy your company, he trusts it. He doesn't just want you, he needs you in a way that goes beyond the physical. You become the one place in the world where he can take off the armor and still feel like a man. And in a world that constantly tells him to man up, be strong, don't cry, don't feel, the woman who says, you're safe here, without needing to say it out loud, becomes unforgettable. One of the most misunderstood things about men is that they don't just want to be needed, they want to be admired. And not for surface level stuff, not for the car they drive or the job title they hold, or even the way they look. What really hits deep for a man is when he feels seen and appreciated for who he is at his core, for his values, his efforts, his intentions, even the battles no one else sees him fighting. That kind of admiration doesn't inflate his ego, it feeds his soul. It tells him, you see me, you get me, and you respect the man I'm trying to be. The truth is, men carry a lot more self-doubt than most people realize. They might look confident on the outside, handling business, keeping it together, staying composed, but underneath, there's often a quiet fear that they're not good enough, not doing enough, not winning in the ways they're supposed to. So when a woman comes along who actually acknowledges these small things, who notices when he stays calm under pressure, or how hard he's working, or how he protects the people he loves, she gives him a kind of emotional fuel that makes him want to keep becoming better. You'd be surprised how far a simple sentence like "I'm proud of you" can go, or "I love the way you handled that." It's not about flattery, it's about witnessing. It's about reflecting his best self back to him, especially on the days when he's not sure that version of him is even real. When you admire a man genuinely, not because you want something from him, but because you see something valuable in him, it builds a connection rooted in truth, not transaction. Men are sensitive to energy. If they feel like they're constantly falling short in your eyes, like nothing they do is ever enough, it chips away at their motivation, their passion, even their desire to stay close. But when they feel admired, not just accepted, but actually valued, something shifts. They lean in, they invest more, they show up more intentionally, because deep down, they want to keep earning your admiration, not out of pressure, but out of pride. There's a big difference between a woman who tolerates a man and one who champions him, and it's subtle. It's in the way you celebrate his wins, even the small ones. It's in how you look at him when he walks in the room. It's in the tone of your voice when you say his name. And no, it's not about ego stroking. It's about reinforcing a truth that most men are starving to believe, that they are enough, that their effort does matter, and that someone sees them trying. You don't have to say a lot sometimes. It's just that one look, that one touch, that pause when he says something vulnerable, and you don't rush to fix it, but instead you say, "That took guts to share." That moment, that respect is everything. That's what admiration looks like in real life. It's not loud, it's not showy, it's consistent, quiet recognition that says, "I see who you are and I respect you deeply for it." And here's the beautiful part. When a man feels admired, he doesn't just get more confident. He becomes more generous, more loving, more open, because now he's not trying to prove himself. He's just trying to give from a place of fullness. You don't have to chase love from a man who feels admired by you. He'll give it freely. He'll give it fully, because he sees you as the mirror that reflects the best version of himself. That's the feeling that keeps him choosing you over and over again. If there's one thing that makes a man pull back faster than anything else, it's the feeling of being controlled. Not challenged, not questioned, controlled. The moment he starts to feel like his autonomy is being squeezed, even by someone he loves, something in him shuts down. Because at the heart of every man is this deep need to feel respected. It's not about being right all the time or being worshipped. It's about feeling trusted, like his decisions matter, like his instincts are valid, like he's not constantly under emotional surveillance waiting to be corrected. Respect to a man is not some cold, distant formality. It's deeply emotional. It's how love lands. It's how he knows he's safe to show up fully, not because someone agrees with everything he says, but because he knows that he's not constantly being undermined or second guessed. And here's the thing, you can love someone and still not respect them. You can be affectionate and still make someone feel like they're not enough. That's why a man will stay with the woman who makes him feel respected, even if she doesn't have everything else perfect. Because respect hits deeper than charm. It reaches the core of his masculine identity. This doesn't mean letting him get away with bad behavior or never speaking your mind. In fact, one of the most powerful things a woman can do is challenge a man from a place of respect. It's the tone, the intention, the way you approach it. Are you criticizing or are you communicating? Are you attacking or are you inviting him to rise with you? When a man feels like fighting with him, not against him, he leans in. But when every conversation feels like a test, like he's always being graded, that connection starts to wear down. Men know they're not perfect. They know they'll make mistakes. But what they don't want is to feel like they're in a relationship where every move is being monitored, judged, or corrected. It's suffocating. What they crave instead is space, not distance. Space to think, to lead, to make choices, to take the initiative. When a woman gives him that space, while still holding her own standards and voice, she becomes magnetic. She's not trying to shrink him or dominate him. She's giving him room to be. And this is where trust comes in. Trust is what allows respect to flow. If you don't trust him, you'll start to control him. You'll start managing his decisions, questioning his motives, trying to shape his every move. Not because you're a bad person, but because fear is running the show. And when fear runs the show, love doesn't stand a chance. But when you lead with trust, when you let him figure things out and respect the process even when it's not perfect, you're sending a message that says, I believe in you. And that message means everything to a man. He doesn't want perfection from you either. He's not asking you to agree with everything he does. He just wants to feel like his woman has faith in him, faith that he's trying, that he's learning, that he's doing his best. Because when he feels that, it builds him. It makes him want to rise, not for approval, but for pride. And that kind of relationship where both people are growing in mutual respect is the kind that lasts. So if you want to draw a man in, not just physically, but emotionally, give him that feeling of being respected, that feeling that he's not being micromanaged, but trusted, that you see the man he's capable of becoming, and you're not trying to force it. You're giving him space to become it. Because when a man feels that kind of respect from you, he doesn't just love you, he honors you. One of the most underrated yet powerful things a woman can bring into a man's life is playfulness. That light energy, that fun, easy, spontaneous vibe that takes the weight off his shoulders for a moment and lets him breathe again, because life is heavy for everyone, but especially for men who are often taught to keep it all together, to grind, to provide, to solve, to fix. And when he finds someone who helps him laugh at life instead of just pushing through it, she becomes more than just a partner. She becomes his safe escape. This doesn't mean being immature or acting like everything's a joke. It's not about being silly all the time. It's about bringing that effortless warmth, the sparkle, the teasing smile that says it's okay to let go a little. Because when a man feels like he can laugh with you, like he can drop the seriousness for a second and just be, he starts to associate you with peace, but not the quiet kind, the joyful kind. The kind of peace that feels like freedom, like lightness, like the version of himself he rarely gets to be. And that's the thing most people miss. Men don't just want to feel strong, respected, or needed. They also want to feel alive. Not every moment has to be deep or intense or meaningful. Sometimes what makes a relationship unforgettable is how you make each other feel in. The in-between moments, the sarcasm, the inside jokes, the way you dance around the kitchen like nobody's watching. That's the glue. That's what makes him say, I feel better when I'm around her. It's that spark of unpredictability. The way you make everyday moments feel like something more. When you're not afraid to tease him a little, to challenge him playfully, to pull him out of his head when he's overthinking. That's when he feels like you're not just someone to come home to, you are home. And you know what's funny? That lightness can be more attractive than any outfit you wear. Because it reaches a part of him that's not impressed by appearance or status. It reaches the kid inside of him who still wants to be excited by life, who still wants to feel wonder, adventure, laughter. Now that doesn't mean you're supposed to perform or constantly try to entertain. It just means letting your natural light come through. It means knowing when to lean back instead of press harder, when to throw in a joke instead of a lecture, when to turn the music up and sing out loud instead of rehashing the same stressful conversation for the 10th time. It's emotional intelligence. It's knowing when he needs a break from the weight of everything. And that break doesn't make you less serious or less desirable. It makes you irreplaceable. Because in a world that constantly demands more from him, the woman who makes him feel like life isn't always so serious, she becomes his reset. She becomes the breath of fresh air. She becomes the reason he looks at his phone and smiles when your name lights up. Because he doesn't just love you for how deep you are, or how loyal, or how wise. He also loves how you make life feel lighter. And here's the truth. Any man can find someone to talk to, but when he finds someone to laugh with, to be a goof with, to mess around and forget the world with, that's when he knows he's found something rare, something worth keeping, something he's not letting go of easily. Because the woman who brings lightness into a man's life isn't just a joy to be around, she's the kind of woman he never wants to lose. There's a certain kind of energy that draws a man in and keeps him coming back. And it's not about being overly available or constantly chasing. It's the energy of a woman who knows her worth. The woman who's not begging for his time or bending over backward just to be chosen. She's not playing hard to get, she is hard to get. Not because she's distant or disinterested, but because she's full. She has a life, a rhythm, a sense of self. That doesn't get lost just because a man shows up. That kind of confidence is magnetic. It doesn't scream or demand attention, it just is. You can feel it in how she speaks. You can sense it in the way she handles silence. She doesn't rush to fill every space. She doesn't fear pauses in conversation. And she doesn't try to impress because she understands something most people miss. That the moment you start performing for someone's affection, you're no longer being authentic. And a man might be drawn to that at first, but over time, he'll start to feel the imbalance. The weight of being the center of your world instead of just being a part of it. Men fall in love with women who show that they love their own lives. Women who are lit up by things that have nothing to do with him. It could be her passion, her career, her hobbies, her friendships, but it's the way she owns her life that keeps him curious. It's the way she doesn't need him to fill a void. She wants him, sure, but she's not waiting by the phone, putting everything on hold, or trying to fit herself into the mold of what she thinks he wants. That energy is powerful because it tells him something without words. I'm whole, and I'm not asking you to complete me. I'm inviting you to walk beside me. And that invitation is irresistible to a man who's emotionally mature. Because now he's not being asked to rescue or validate. He's being asked to partner. And men respect that, they admire that, they trust that. And here's where it gets real. When a woman is rooted in her value, she doesn't chase inconsistency. She doesn't overinvest in someone who's half showing up. She doesn't lose sleep over mixed signals or feel the need to prove her worth to someone who's not ready to recognize it. She simply observes. She sees clearly. And if a man is not aligned, she lets him go. Not because she's cold, but because she knows love should feel secure, not confusing. This doesn't make her arrogant. It makes her grounded. She still loves deeply. She's still warm, open, nurturing, but she's not afraid to walk away from anything that costs her peace. And that boundary, that quiet strength speaks volumes to a man, because now he knows she's not here for the drama, the games, or the emotional roller coaster. She's here for something real, and if he wants to be a part of that, he has to show up. It's not about having power over him, it's about having power within yourself. That's what allows love to grow in a healthy way, when both people are choosing each other from a place of abundance, not lack. When neither is trying to fix or fill something, but rather share their lives because they genuinely see value in one another. So when a man meets a woman who values her time, her energy, her peace, and still chooses to let him in, he doesn't take that lightly, because now he knows he's not just one option. He's someone she chose with intention. And being chosen by a woman like that, that's the kind of feeling that sticks with a man forever. There's a feeling that stays with a man long after the conversations fade and the physical attraction sells. It's the feeling of being emotionally safe. That deep sense of, I can let my guard down here. Most men, whether they show it or not, carry a kind of armor. They're taught to be strong, to push through, to hold things in. So when they meet a woman who creates a space where they don't have to be the tough one all the time, where they can actually be human, it touches something in them that very few ever reach. It doesn't happen in loud declarations. It happens in the way you respond when he opens up. It's the moment he says something vulnerable, and instead of reacting with judgment, you listen, you stay present, you don't make it about you or try to fix it. You just hold the space. That right there is emotional safety. It's not about having all the right words, it's about having the right energy. It's about being the kind of person who can sit with someone in their pain or uncertainty without making them feel like they're weak for having those feelings. When a man feels emotionally safe, something incredible happens. He starts to reveal the parts of himself he usually keeps hidden. The doubts, the fears, the childhood wounds, the parts he usually masks with confidence or silence. And when you meet those parts with warmth and not panic, with curiosity instead of criticism, you start building something rare. You become more than just a partner. You become his piece. So many women want closeness, they want depth, they want that next level of connection, but that only happens when a man feels safe enough to go there. He won't open that door. If he thinks what's behind it will be used against him, if past experiences have taught him that vulnerability equals weakness, or that honesty will be met with shame, he'll keep it all inside. But the woman who makes him feel like his truth is safe, she earns a place in his heart that no one else can reach. It's not always dramatic either. Sometimes it's the little moments, the way you don't rush him when he's quiet, the way you ask how he's really doing and then wait for the real answer, the way you don't label him as emotionally unavailable just because he needs a little time to process. Men often don't have the emotional language that women do, not because they don't feel deeply, but because they were never taught how to speak that language. And the woman who's patient with that process, she makes him feel like he finally has the freedom to learn. And here's something powerful. Emotional safety doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It means knowing you can have conflict without destroying each other. It means being able to disagree, to be honest, to have uncomfortable conversations, and still trust that the foundation won't crumble. That kind of security allows a man to stop holding back, to stop performing, to stop hiding. The woman who creates that safety becomes unforgettable, because now love isn't just about attraction or chemistry or shared interests. It's about trust. It's about comfort without complacency. It's about having someone in your life who doesn't make you feel like you have to earn every ounce of affection, but who meets you with presence, patience, and emotional consistency. Men don't always say it out loud, but they crave that kind of connection. It's rare, it's healing, and when they find it, They hold on to it, not just because it feels good, but because it finally feels real. Because a woman who makes a man feel emotionally safe gives him something no surface level attraction ever could: a place to be seen, accepted, and loved without condition.